The MP for Mid-Bedfordshire resigned from Parliament on Saturday, sending a scathing letter to Rishi Sunak. We will have a look at this letter now, OK? Now, just to be aware, it's quite long. It's pushing, I think, there's more than 2,000 words in it. Let's just start it. It's a classic of its kind. Dear Prime Minister, she says to Rishi Sunak, and she starts with the obvious stuff, great honour, blessing to serve with the government. And then she says, I put my majority up. She says, look at that moment. I put my majority up to 25,000 in her constituency. And she points out, I'm grateful for your personal phone call on the morning you appointed your cabinet, even if I declined to take your call. Little nudge, sharp elbow into Rishi Sunak there. So she goes on then about her career and all the stuff she's done. She then mentions the tech sector and the work she's done there. And she says he turns up to make a speech. You flashed your gleaming smile in your Prada shoes and Savile Row suit from behind a camera, but you weren't listening. All these people received were platitudes and a speech saying how good life is in California. And the fact that they all went to the US is down to you. So that's the first real accusation against him. And she really heats up this letter. Why is it we've had 5 Conservative Prime Ministers since 2010 and not one of the previous 4 has left office as the result of a general election? She thinks there's something wrong with Parliament and with her party as a result. And she started, to play detective. She said, I'm doing some investigations here. And a dark story has emerged. And it's very disturbing because she says the democratic process at the heart of our party has been corrupted. So now we're into really, really heavy words from Nadine Dorries. The spectacle of you, Rishi Sunak, demeaning your office by whipping up a public frenzy against one of his own MPs. That's me. That's Nadine Dorries. She says you targeted Boris. You transferred that to Liz Truss. You moved on to me. And she says, I've, as a result, had threats to my person. Since you took office a year ago, the country's run by a zombie government. Now, we were reminded of this, OK? The famous video, the thriller, because we were suddenly thinking, hang on a minute, we saw something back in the 80s in this video. Just have a look. So Michael Jackson's surrounded by the zombies, and we see them sort of lurching. And we'll just focus on this one here, this outline here. Let's just bring this person forward. We'll change the lighting on it. Poor quality film. Yes, there he is. So Rishi Sunak being accused of being a zombie by Nadine Dorries. Really, really unusual language. Let's carry on with the letter. You've increased corporation tax. We got the highest tax ever. We haven't done Brexit properly. And then she says, no affection for Keir Starmer. He doesn't have the quality of Thatcher, Blair, Boris Johnson, but nor do you. This is the awkward bit. We look in vain for a grand political vision. And then the final page here, you've abandoned the fundamental principles of conservatism. History will not judge you kindly. I want a by-election. I'm off. What a letter! You could virtually publish that. Mic drop. You see that? There's the mic drop. You could publish that, couldn't you, Peter?
Pretty long.
Is she right? I know you like Nadine Dorries as well.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm a great fan of Boris, and Nadine is Nadine. She's one of those colourful characters who was in Parliament, independent-minded, said what she thought. I like politicians to say what. On the other side, I like people like Dennis Skinner, who used to say what he thought. But I get my impression of the letter is she doesn't like the Prime Minister very much.
Well, is she right to dislike Rishi Sunak?
No.
Let's stick on Sunak. Zombie, the idea that he's somehow, I suppose the zombie means dead behind the eyes.
Yeah, I mean, that's clearly wrong. And
is this?
Yeah, I mean, we've got these 5 pledges, right, which the Prime Minister and he's getting on to trying to deliver. So the idea that that's a zombie is ridiculous. And I understand what's likely to happen in September when we get back to Parliament is the party's going to announce what it's going to do after the next general election and how we're going to get back into power. So it's really somebody who's fallen out very badly with someone else.
OK, but she was in the cabinet until recently, so she's got some political stature, Marina, hasn't she?
She has, just on Sunak delivering. That's a bit of a stretch, Peter. Of those pledges, he's going to try and take credit for inflation now, is he dropping, which, by the way, Nadine points out in her letter is an insult to people's intelligence. Also, the stopping of the boats, no, that's on the up. The waiting list, no. NHS, that's on the up. So he's not delivering. So Nadine Dorries said a lot in that letter. And some of it she's absolutely bang on about. One of them is the fact that there is a corruption at the heart of government. And yes, Sunak has and continues to demean his office. But what I can't bear is the brass neck and delusion of the woman saying that, who was an enabler, a facilitator, ultimate fangirl of Boris Johnson, who dragged that office into disrepute, who demeaned the office, who lied and lied and lied, who paved the way for corruption. So how on earth do you, just because now she's bitter because she didn't get her peerage, she's now spilling the beans. Just let's be clear, if she had her peerage, she wouldn't be doing this. She wouldn't be talking about this. It'd be like, do you know what, I'm looked after, I'll keep stum. But no, she says something else which I thought was interesting. She said, you put personal ability above the stability of the country and economy.
Personal ambition.
Ambition, absolutely. Can you think of anyone else other than Boris Johnson who has done that more dangerously and in a way that has damaged the country anymore? He did exactly that.
Peter might say Tony Blair. I don't know. You know, I mean, there's all kinds. It's not uncommon in politics, is it?
I think the fact that Boris Johnson won one of the biggest Conservative majorities
because he lied, Peter. Can we just establish that he voted? He said that he was going to get Brexit done. He had an oven-ready deal. People believed him, and what happened?
And we got Brexit done, and we delivered a great success in that.
No, you didn't.
Yeah,
so, which is why
we're not in the European Union.
Why Rishi Sunak has had to now
let Peter finish. Let Peter finish.
Well, look, if you're talking about Brexit, we're out of the European Union. We don't pay billions and billions of pounds each and every year to the European Union. We've ended the free movement of people. We make our own laws in our own country, judged by our own judges. And we have a free trade, free quota agreement with the European Union.
Oh my God,
that is delivering exactly what Boris Johnson promised.
Those points I could pick apart. Yes,
Go on, then try.
We don't pay billions to the EU as part of our membership. We now hemorrhage billions lost to the Treasury because of lost output. We've ended freedom of movement, and your government is now having to roll back on this and grant visas here, left, right, and centre because we can't.
We ended the free movement. People cannot just walk into this country.
So, and now we have industries crippled by that lack of free movement.
Name an industry that's crippled.
Horticulture, agriculture, hospitality.
I think a lot of farmers would take.
You don't live in the real world, Peter. You absolutely do not.
Let's not. We do talk about Brexit a lot, but let's just stick on Nadine and the zombie government idea.